All right, we're ready. Mayor Gore, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Gonna wait a couple of moments to let some attendees join the meeting. They kind of come in slowly. Okay. I think we're good to go. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for our regular city council meeting. This is the first time we are doing this fully electronic for city council. So thank you for taking the time out and participating via the Zoom software or dialing in. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Gore.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Here.
Councilor Randolph.
Here.
Councilor Holloway.
Here.
Councilor Parton.
Here.
Councilor Denton.
Here.
Councilor Pelham.
Present.
Okay. Everyone's audio controls seem to be working just fine, which is good. First, I want to thank the director of IT and her team for making sure the city was equipped to handle this abrupt change. You guys have worked very, very hard and diligently. I know you guys have a lot of requests with teleworking and helping with the other city operations. And so I think council should collectively give you guys a round of applause for your efforts and to definitely thank you for being the backbone for us
Thank
right
you.
now. This.
Yes. Applause.
Thank you, IT.
Yay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next section. We have the prayer by Mr. Bragg, Director of Intergovernmental Public Affairs, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, the United States of America, led by Councilor Pelham. Mr. Bragg? And I actually don't see him logged in, so I will see if Mr. Dane can go ahead and do the prayer for us, please.
Yes, ma'am, sure. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, even in this time of despair, we thank you for all the blessings we have and the health that we have. We ask for your hedge of protection around this community as we work our way through this current pandemic, and we ask for the safety and health of all of our first responders and all those out in the front lines that are seeing people in the public, and to keep them safe, and ask that you be with us as we make decisions as leadership and as elected officials as we move forward through this very difficult, uncharted water. So we ask your prayers in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you so
I
much.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United
United States of America and to the republic which is stands one nation under God and
Liberty
indivisible.
justice for all.
Amen.
Great. So, just a little housekeeping. Please remember City Council on the panelist toolbar. Please raise your hand if you would like to speak, and then I will acknowledge you and you can have the floor. We want to make sure everyone does not just yell out randomly. We want to still have some order to our meetings. And so can everyone practice raising the hand just to make sure that's working properly?
Mayor Gore, Councilor Holloway and I aren't videoing.
We on the phone.
Therefore, how do you want us to respond if we have something to say?
You can just call my name once and I'll address you, okay?
Or if it's easier, you can call on us, whichever makes your meeting go better.
Yep. I'll do it section by section, so that way we can make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak. So I'll do section by section of tonight's ordinance, and then I'll just make sure if anyone has any comments, we can do it that way to make it seamless. Thank you for that suggestion.
Okay.
For everyone who has their hands raised, I do see it. Councilor Randolph, you can unraise your hand, and Councilor Denton. All right, thank you guys for that. We're going to move on. And is there a motion to amend or adopt the regular meeting agenda? Councilor Parton?
I move that we
Second.
adopt the regular meeting agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor Parton moved to adopt the regular meeting agenda, and it was seconded by Councilor Pelham. The motion is before the body now. Is there any discussion? Please use your raise hand tool. Councilor Parton, I'm not sure if that's your raise
No,
hand.
I'm good.
All right. There's no raised hands. Councilor Pelham or Councilor Holloway, do you have anything? All right, moving on. Roll call, please.
Counselor Randolph,
Yes.
Counselor Holloway,
Yes.
Counselor Parton,
Yes.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Counselor Denton,
Yes.
Counselor Pelham,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. Moving on to adopt or amend the consent agenda, but there isn't one in this packet, so we're going to move on to regular business. Unless that's improper, Madam Attorney.
No, that's not improper, ma'am.
Thank you. The item that we have before us today is the emergency ordinance authorizing local action pursuant to declarations of emergency related to COVID-19 pandemic. The issue is the Director of Emergency Management, the manager issued a local declaration of emergency with the consent of a majority city council during a meeting and voted electronically. It is necessary for city council to confirm this declaration and provide additional authority as needed during the pandemic. Accordingly, city council is asked to review and approve the emergency ordinance. City council has a draft ordinance in our packet, but we also have another version due to discussion. Madam Attorney, you want me to put the final copy that was sent out to me on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And please let me know if this isn't the right one. It's the one that saved a final copy. I believe this is the correct version. I'm just gonna scroll past it quickly. This is it.
Yes. The one that's being displayed on the screen right now is the correct version or the final version.
Okay, perfect. So City Council is going to be discussing this emergency ordinance. I'll ask the city manager, does he have any comments before I start going section by section in this to get council's approval?
No, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Madam Attorney, do you want to do, I was asked by several councilors to do it section by section just to make sure that people understood exactly what we were doing and for the public to be clear on exactly what we were deciding. Do you want me to read the section or and explain, or do you want to go section by section yourself, Attorney?
This at the discretion of the body, how you want to proceed, or the I can defer to your reading the draft.
Okay. Does anyone have and someone's phone is very close to speaker? Can everyone mute their lines, please? Thank you.
Okay.
So we'll just, does any council have any objections to having it read section by me or city attorney? Councilor Denton?
Wouldn't we need to make the motion first and then just follow the discussion?
Well, we're discussing the actual item before we vote, make a motion. We do just the presentation of what the item is. All right, Madam Attorney, can you just go section by section for us, please?
Okay, so I will just read the entire ordinance. Is that what we're going to do? My telecast is a little bit choppy. Can you repeat your answer, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, that's perfect.
Okay, so this emergency,
Not the, oh,
Counselor Pelham?
sorry. I thought you were gonna go paragraph by paragraph. That wouldn't mean reading the whole ordinance by itself, would it?
so when you say go paragraph by paragraph, the message I was getting is that where you would be actually taking action, which is in the be it ordained section, starting at the bottom of page 1 and going through the end.
Yes.
Each paragraph would be read aloud. And as I'm understanding the chair, then questions would be taken for each of those paragraphs as they're read.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So,
That's correct, Madam Attorney.
okay. So be it ordained and enacted this 24th day of March 2020 by the Hopewell City Council that the local declaration of emergency issued by the Director of Emergency Management / City Manager on Saturday, March 14, 2020, with the consent of a majority of City Council meeting and voting electronically, is hereby confirmed, and the Director of Emergency Management is hereby authorized to exercise all emergency authority that is provided to that office by and in accordance with Virginia Code annotated section 44-146.21, and such authority shall remain in full force and effect until expressly terminated by City Council or the Virginia governor lifts the state of emergency for COVID-19, whichever shall first occur. That's the
Be it.
paragraph.
Thank you. Does anyone have any issues with that first section? It just pretty much explains what led us to this point. I'll
Yeah.
ask for those who are using the electronic, if you please raise your hand if you have any comments. There are no raised hands. Counselor Pelham or Counselor Humphrey, since you're on the line, do you have any comments about that first section?
Yeah, I would. In there, should there be anything with this, in this section, it also, just like we did the declaration, be with the majority of council?
Well,
I mean, because this gives the city manager, I guess, in this case, the authority to do anything regarding the implementation of ordering or whatever would you be able to call like the National Guard or whatever, or what else would it mean?
okay, so I can, if it's necessary and desirable, I can pull up the code provision that we are incorporating in this provision. But if you look at that paragraph as it's currently drafted, everything that is in there before the word confirmed, which is on that last line of the first page, has already been passed by the majority of council. Having it in
Okay,
the document is really redundant. He's already been authorized to do the local declaration of emergency.
okay,
After the word confirm, this is when you are expressly giving him the authority to exercise all of the authority that is provided by the state code in an emergency situation. Thus the reference to
okay.
code provision. So,
All right, I'm fine.
okay.
I'm okay.
And just for clarity, for those who are watching and on the online, the first paragraph that Counselor Pelham was talking about is the bottom of page 1, where it says, be it ordained and enacted this 24th day of March 2020. That is the paragraph that she's referring to. It's the bottom of page 1, and it kind of bleeds over to page 2.
Okay, so the second paragraph is, be it further ordained that the Hopewell Police Chief shall be authorized to enforce or aid in the enforcement of all regulations and executive orders issued by state and federal officials regarding the meeting, containment, and movement by persons in or on any public property or right of way. Such authority conferred by this emergency ordinance shall remain in a full force and effect until expressly terminated by City Council or the Virginia governor lifts the state of emergency for coronavirus, whichever shall first occur. All authority conferred on the police chief by this emergency ordinance shall be in addition to the exercise of other authority vested in his position by existing local, state, and federal law. That's the end of the second paragraph.
Okay.
All right, so those who are participating via the Zoom software, does anyone have a question? Please raise your hand. No one has raised their hand. Counselor Pelham and Counselor Holloway, do you have any questions with this section?
No, ma'am.
No.
Third paragraph. It is further ordained that the Hopewell Police Chief shall be authorized to impose a curfew restricting the movement of individuals and vehicles in the city of Hopewell if it is determined that without such action, the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Hopewell will be at immediate risk. Any administrative curfew imposed hereunder shall remain in effect for no longer than 15 calendar days from the date on which the curfew is imposed, unless expressly extended by the City Council. Curfews authorized by this authority shall be in addition to any other applicable curfews enacted by existing separate legislation or regulation. The end of that third paragraph.
Thank you. So those join us remotely, does any, Counselor Randolph has her hand raised. Go ahead, Counselor Randolph.
Yes, I would like to know whether council would consider that if in this section, maybe we put something in there that says that the chief would, in the event that he's going to potentially set a curfew, that he give council as much advance notice as possible.
No, Mayor Pelham.
Counselor Pelham.
Yeah, and I was going to say that I would recommend that after the word curfew, that we include in consultation with the Director of Emergency Management and the city mayor at the minimum, instead of telling, and then the mayor in turn will, when they have that consultation, that would mean that the mayor will consult us, and then we'll get back, she'll get back with the chief and the city emergency manager.
Okay, Counselor Denton has her hand raised, and then Counselor Randolph.
I think still we were referring to the city council, expressly extended by the city council. I think city council should be involved in every aspect of this if we change it.
Thank you. Counselor Randolph.
I have no qualms with us changing that to, but there may be instances where he is going to want to, there's something that comes up with the curfew that would need to be implemented quickly, and I'm not sure that sticking us in the middle of it as to a decision is going to work quickly. You know, certainly I would ask the other council members if they feel like we have to be, I mean, I was looking at notification to us, not approval from us, but you know, I'll leave that up to the majority of council.
Okay. Right now, there are no other hands raised. Counselor Holloway, since you're on the phone, do you have any comments?
All I can say, since the mayor is our port of contact, in reference to, can be our port of contact from the chief of police in reference to this statements in here.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I was shaking my head because I see the city attorney and counselor didn't have their hands raised. Yes, Ms. We can hear you.
Okay, so the comments that I've been hearing are fairly general. The more specific one came from Councilor Pelham, and I just want to make sure I understand what her suggestion was. And so under on the second line of that paragraph is the word curfew. Are you saying after that word curfew, we insert the word in consultation with the Director of Emergency Management and the mayor?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you, ma'am.
And I have a question as well. If we were to do that, we can, consultation still doesn't mean approval to Counselor Randolph's point. But I think if you were to do something like that, even with consultation, I think that we should put in writing that I will be obligated to notify all the council of that consultation.
Anyway,
Yes.
I would agree that whatever consultation of any of the part of the ordinance, you and or the manager, you at when it says your name, definitely, and when it says his name, you both understand that you have to communicate some type of way back to the council before a total decision is made. Or
Thank
in
you.
the case of emergency.
Yes, or in the case of emergency. Counselor Denton had her hand raised. Counselor Randolph.
I just think we're getting too complicated. I just think the way that our city attorney has phrased it is very, very good, and I have no questions with what she has done.
Counselor Randolph.
If we're going to start getting into consultation with the city manager and the mayor, and then the mayor has to get in the information and approval from council, for me, that would have to be in writing. So this clearly defined as what council has approved and not approved. So I'm back to what we have written here. I'm fine with rather than changing it.
Madam Attorney, I'm not sure if that's an old hand raise or a new one.
It's a new one. I lowered it and then raised it again. So here's just a suggestion for those who are expressing some concern about council's involvement, at least in the process. You can opt to change the number of days in which that curfew stays in effect to a lower period of time. So if there's a concern that things are getting a little bit beyond council's control, then there would be a requirement for this to be extended by council, say in 7 days or 5 days or something like that. And then at least you have that. But that's my only suggestion to deal with those concerns about council's involvement.
Okay. I have a hand raised from Mr. Altman.
My question, I guess, would be for Ms. Robinson. How does this paragraph then work if the governor issues a curfew?
Overrides it.
As you say, if you read down through this, at the last sentence, it says the curfews authorized by this shall be in addition to any other applicable curfews enacted by separate legislation. So whatever he has put in place, if the governor has something that actually covers or extends, he's going to enforce those as well.
Okay.
It's in tandem with his obligation to enforce the other laws.
So the follow-up question would be, if the governor puts a curfew in effect, we then do have to come to council, or do we not have to come to council to get the approval to enforce that curfew? I'm assuming
In that would not be our curfew. It would not be a curfew that's imposed pursuant to this emergency ordinance. You would be simply enforcing the regulation from a state official.
Okay, just want that to be clear.
Yes, sir. So if, to your point, if the governor has a curfew in place, there would be no need for us to have a locally imposed curfew.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, my,
There
can I
are
say
other,
something?
hold on, Councilor Pelham. There are no other hands raised right now. I do have a question. I think that one of the earlier revisions we had, the consultation with the mayor was included in most of all of these sections. And I think that I think consultation with me, and I'd be required to communicate that back to council to make sure there's concerns that can be raised is something to help with communication. I'm not asking for the approval from council. I'm just saying to at least be consulted, and so that I can share the message with council. I think that should meet a happy medium if it's not asking for council to approve anything, just at least to have a heads up on what's coming down the pipe. Councilor Pelham?
And the point was basically is that for the curfew, we given the chief total autonomy in making that decision. It appears, unless, well, except this part where it says curfew is imposed unless expressly extended by the city council. But basically, he can do a 15-day calendar curfew by himself with not a consultation with anyone. And I mean, he's been here a year, I guess, a lot of experience, but I just think he should bounce it against somebody, not just himself and his staff, because he doesn't know. He knows from a police point of view what's going on, but he doesn't know internally in our individual wards what is going on. And that's a whole different perspective than where he come from a law force environment as well, So, I mean, in my ward, for example, Arlington Park is a very active playground, just like in Ward 7. I think that playground is pretty active. So we have the observation of passing it every day and seeing action or whatever. You might want to implement a curfew or 7 o'clock or when it's dark. But I might have information that kids get rowdy at 5 or 6 o'clock. So then that's why he can't just independently make that decision, in my view.
Thank you. There's several hands raised. I don't know who spoke first. I'm just going to go in the bottom, moving up. Councilor Randolph.
I heard what you had to say, Brenda, and I think that in most cases, if we set a curfew in this city, we're going to set it as a citywide curfew and not just in certain areas. Excuse me?
Definitely. Yes, definitely. I wasn't saying separate.
Yeah. So to me, any one of us or any of us as a council can talk to him. And I know that he works for March, so he's still going to be talking to the city manager, who is also the emergency person for the city, the director of emergency management here. So I would say that both of those. Now, we had a text issue the other day, and I explained my situation with that text. There are things that I would rather that the two of them just go ahead and do and alert us as council. And I trust the judgment of both of those people to make the right decisions and not to be frivolous with their decisions in this time, and to make sure that they can enforce what they put in place for a curfew. So I have no problems with the chief being able to place a curfew and do that accordingly. I think his judgment is what we need to depend on as for that. Thanks.
Councilor Parton.
So I agree with the paragraph as written. And, if we have concerns, later at the very end of this ordinance or this emergency ordinance, we can always come back and amend it or rescind it at any time. And, just for notification purposes, I think it'd just be even easier if the city manager and the police chief just email all of us. And that way we all get the exact same information and we don't have to worry about an extra sorry about that, an extra tier of information or, trying to, communicate up and down. So, I think if the chief of police and the city manager just email all of us or notify us all via text message, let us know what they're going to do, keep the paragraph, the same, I'm good to go.
Yep.
Counselor Denton?
Just asking a question, since we're having quite a bit of discussion on this paragraph, are we going to make a motion to approve each paragraph, or how are we going to do this? I'm a little confused because if we have this much discussion on all the others, I don't know how we're going to know what kind of motion to make.
Yes, I think that I'll confer to city attorney. I think since these are 1, 2, 3 sections of this are the meat that gives authority in the ordinance, I think we should vote on each section and then vote on the entire thing. I'll ask the city attorney if we can do it that way. So that way there's a clean version. Everybody knows what section we individually approved.
My advice is that the entire ordinance will be adopted in one vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone wants or is not happy with a paragraph, that needs to be revised before the vote is taken. If someone wants a paragraph out, it needs to be deleted before the vote is taken. Similarly, if someone wants something to be added, it should be added before the vote is taken. But it's the vote to adopt the emergency ordinance, up or down.
Mr. Altman.
Just to provide some clarity, the chief and I talked about this section and the previous section yesterday, and his concerns were chain of command and that he reports to me, and his thoughts were that it should be the city manager instead of the chief of police, and we talked. We were fine with the language, but just from practical standpoints, the council knows the chief will be consulting with me. He won't make the decision in a vacuum by himself.
Right.
We would certainly communicate any thoughts of having or imposing a curfew to council prior to it going into effect.
Right.
Thank you.
So there are no hands raised right now. So I'll just share my comments kind of in response to that. I think that's kind of the issue. The city manager reports directly to you and you report to council. And so there needs to be communication with the elected officials that were voted to represent the constituents. And as the mayor, I am the head elected official for the city. Certainly if there's going to be an emergency ordinance and things that impact the entire city, I think as the head elected official, I should at least be consulted with to talk to council with in case there's any other concerns. I just think out of process, it's mentioned in the charter and it's mentioned in other places that the mayor does have a role in some emergency situations. And so I'm not asking to be the person that gives approval or denial. I'm just simply asking for as the mayor for the city before something's imposed. And to have the ability to talk to other council members as well. I think it's more so out of respect of the position, more so than anything, especially when we have an emergency situation. And just like the other council members, I'm being contacted by constituents on a daily basis to about things. And unfortunately, at this time, I really can't answer questions. And so I'm looking for any opportunity to have information as the chief elected official for the community as well. And so right now, as it stands, that doesn't occur. And so again, I'm not asking to make any decisions unilaterally. I'm just asking to be consulted when those conversations occur with the city manager at the minimum. Since he does, if he's the emergency director for the city.
Okay. with that, oh, okay, with me then, I would like to see this paragraph be amended to say, like I suggested it. And also, well, and if the majority doesn't agree with in consultation with the mayor, then I don't think it should be 15 days because that's 3 weeks. 3 weeks that you have a curfew without any input directly from the city council. So I would take the suggestion of reducing the number of days and say that again, it still should be in consultation with both the people, the director, as well as the mayor, and that the curfew should be reduced to 5 to 7 days. I don't know which one. So that there's any objection with those decisions, and we can come back easily the next week and make a decision. We can express something else. Do I need to put that in the form of a motion, Madam Attorney? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, it's just a motion, and we can get this paragraph correct for the whole overall motion.
Okay.
And then I make a motion that we change this particular paragraph to put after the word curfew in consultation with the Director of Emergency Management and the city mayor, and reduce the number of days from 15 calendar days to 7 calendar days.
I second it. There are no
Hello.
hands right now. Does it, for discussion? Madam Attorney, is it proper to just go ahead with the roll call? Are we doing this correctly?
If we are just going to talk about how we're going to revise this paragraph, yes, right now, if you've put it out for discussion and there's no takers, then take the vote.
Madam Clerk?
Counselor Randolph,
No.
Counselor Holloway,
Yes.
Counselor Parton,
No.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Counselor Denton,
No.
Counselor Pelham,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett,
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So, Madam Attorney, I know you shared with me beforehand that you'd be making, I think you said that you'd be making changes live so we could put the final version on the screen before we adopt the whole thing, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's why I had my hand raised. I just wanted to make sure that that was still going to be how we were going to proceed.
Yes, ma'am. Do you want me to share this? Do you want to share the screen and have your Word document up, or do you want to email it to me and then I can put it up later?
What I will do is before you all take a vote on the entire ordinance, I will send to you revisions as I am understanding them based on your changes. And I will send it to all 7 counselors at the same time. You can put your version up on the screen before the vote on the entire ordinance. Okay, so I'm going to be making these changes in real time, so it might be maybe 1 or 2 minute lag, but you should have the entire draft for this to be reviewed by the group before you take the vote on the entire ordinance.
Okay.
That's tonight, right?
And
Yeah.
I'm making
Okay.
the comments now, changes.
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.
All right, the next section is the second further ordained. Madam Attorney, since you are making live changes, I'll just wait for you to cue in when you're ready to start that section. So that way we're just doing this in orderly fashion.
Okay, I will make the
Order.
read, and while we're discussing it, I'm typing. So the next paragraph is, it is further ordained that the city manager shall be authorized to suspend the cutoff / shut off of any public service or collection activity for a period not to exceed 60 days. No administrative suspension imposed pursuant to this authority shall be extended except by the express consent of city council. That's the end.
Thank you. For those participating remotely on the software, does anyone have a question? Please raise your hand. There are no hands raised. Councillor Pelham, Councillor Holloway, since you're dialed in, do you have any questions?
No,
Councillor Pelham?
no.
Okay, Councillor Holloway?
No.
Okay, so it seems like everyone is fine with this section, correct?
Next paragraph.
Before you do the next paragraph, can I ask, Madam Mayor, may I say something?
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't have no hand
I know that you
and all
don't have
that stuff.
anything. I know.
But an action item that was deleted from the draft, I was going to ask that paragraph come back in, and it'd be more appropriate to put it at behind this paragraph or before it, because it deals with representation on the regional level. If y'all remember, there was the further ordained that it was written as the president or city council mayor be authorized to assist the local director of emergency management and police chief to maintain order and enforce the laws. Do I have to read the whole thing? Do y'all have your draft? Or I guess the public needs to know.
Let me pull up the thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, and can you, I guess I can finish reading it, or you can read it, city attorney. I have it in front of me. I can finish reading it.
Okay, can you start?
Anyway,
It was unclear, please.
Okay, further ordained that the president of city council mayor shall be authorized to assist the director of emergency management and police chief to maintain order and enforce the laws that are enacted due to the public health emergency created by coronavirus, and shall be authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell if called upon, if the participation of the city of Hopewell is deemed desirable or necessary to formulate regional support or messaging. In addition, and I was going to add in addition to the citizens of Hopewell, anytime that there is a regional meeting, the mayor also represents us on the workforce board, the executive board for Crater Planning District as well. I don't know what the other regional board she represents us on, but most of them, it is the position of the office of the mayor, from my experience. So that was dropped because I had said okay during the time that we gave the feedback for this, but I guess the majority said no. So I'm asking for reconsideration in your thought process to add this paragraph back, because there will probably be some type of maybe media, regional speaking that has to be done. And every city, I mean, and one additional thing, and it all over the country, whenever we pull up the TV, I'm not to date, I mean, equated, has not been a mayor who has not spoken, just like our president has his staff behind him. He speaks and then they speak. So I just don't, it's not like the mayor, again, if she speaks out of order or she becomes rambunctious and decides to speak not the voice of the council, then as the city attorney say, we pull her back and we say, look, we need to amend the ordinance. And no, you proven that you can't do that.
I can
So
agree with
if
that.
Okay, so my thing is that, she has to show that what she believes the voice of council is, and if she doesn't do that, then we can always amend that back to pull back that authority and give it back to the emergency manager. But on TV or any regional or statewide conversation, the voice of the mayor should be heard. And in her absence, of course, the vice mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Mm. So I would make that motion to add that back to the overall ordinance.
Okay, a second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Pelham, second by Councilor Holloway. There's 2 hands raised. Councilor Denton.
I saw that paragraph in the original draft, and since we don't have the strong mayor form of government, I feel like we and our city manager is the head of this emergency. I think that's who we should hear from. That's who is updating the city every day. So I am not in favor of adding that clause back into this agreement.
Councilor Randolph.
Thank you. Madam Pelham, Councilor Pelham, I heard everything you said. I appreciate your voice and your way of thinking, but unfortunately on this particular topic, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I think that there have been several times that we've had to pull back and do things because of the way that things have been handled. And I explicitly told you a couple of nights ago what my feelings were on this, and I'm going to have to stand by that. And I agreed to pull this paragraph out because I did not believe that we had a strong mayor form of government, and I am just as happy that the city manager speak, since he is the person that will be the director of emergency management, as Councilor Denton has said. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, there are no hands raised.
No, can I make a comment too?
What, can you hold it for 1 second? Let me just check to see if Mr. Holloway has anything to share.
No.
Okay, and I did have a question in the a private question in the chat box. I was asked what paragraph is Councilor Pelham referring to. So I'll read it again. It is a paragraph that was included in the original version of this ordinance, but it's not in this draft. It says the president of city council / the mayor shall be authorized to assist the local director of emergency management and chief of police to maintain order and enforce the laws that are enacted due to public health emergency created by the coronavirus, and shall be authorized to appear and speak on behalf of city council if called upon, if the participation of the city of Hopewell is deemed desirable or necessary, and to formulate regional support or messaging in addition to the citizens of Hopewell. So that's what she was referring to. I can't pull that up on my screen because I'm sharing my screen, but that's what she's speaking about. So
Please share that was taken out based on other counselors' discussions with the city attorney.
Right, I said it was taken out because of council's discussions, correct, but she's asking to put it back in.
I guess so, like the majority agreed, but oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, it's okay. I was just providing clarity. The person asked where were you reading from, and I was sharing not in this draft because some members of council asked for it to be removed. And so I said I couldn't share it on my screen because I have another document on my screen. So I just read it over again so that person would know what I was referring to. Go ahead, Councilor Pelham.
And again, I know we've agreed to disagree. quite a bit, some time, but it's okay. But I was saying at some point, I would ask also my peers to let's start anew. And I know that's probably difficult for most of you. I myself have disagreed with our mayor on many occasions, but we come through it. So, but at a time of emergency, again, it's not about being a strong or weak mayor like the one in Richmond. A strong mayor means you can make independent decisions. But again, just like if the mayor oversteps her bounds in this position, we again can always come back to the table and say, nope, hey, she can't represent me. She can't represent the majority of us or the city. But I would say in this case, it's an emergency. Other mayors around the state of Virginia, at least, I'm not seeing anyone else out there except for the mayor. No, not trying to demean our city manager, very capable spokesman. But again, I think the voice of the mayor should be heard because of the office, from my experience, at least 4 years anyway of it. Thank you.
Okay, before I do the next round, Councilor Denton, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, Councilor. We do agree to disagree. I'm just afraid that I have not seen anything lately that shows me that we are working together. I wish we were, but I just have not seen it at all. So I just feel that this is something that is earned, and I just cannot, in all righteousness, support this addition to this draft.
Okay, Councilor Denton, your feed was breaking up a little bit. Did you say you feel like this is something that should be earned?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're as good as our word, Mayor. And I think some of us just have not done that. And until we can have respect for one another and really work together as a team, I just can't see putting this paragraph back in. I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's no other hands raised at this time, and I'll just say respectfully, I disagree with it having to be something that's earned. It's the position. And in terms of earning, it means that there's a hierarchy here that I have to comply with. I have to do stuff to gain your acceptance. But we're elected individually, and our acceptance comes from our constituents. And so with all due respect, kind of what Councilor Pelham was saying, localities across the Commonwealth in this nation have their elected leader, the head of their elected government, speaking directly to them. And as I've said, I have been inundated with messaging as to why Hopewell hasn't said anything. And I've done all that I can to try to communicate to people without saying I'm speaking on behalf of the city, because I don't have that ability to do so right now. Also, part of the issue that I spoke before earlier is I have no problem doing this with the city manager, since he is the director of emergency management. I mean, that's how it should be when you're talking to the public in a time of a crisis. You should have all your stakeholders together when you speak. Also, we had, when I say speak to the people, officially, that's what I mean when I say speak. Also, I've had contacts to ask me, can I join the other mayors in the region to talk about what we're doing in our locality to show a collective show of force. I couldn't do that because I didn't have this ability to do so. Now, granted, kind of what Councilor Pelham is saying, obviously, I can't speak on something that I just feel on my own. So if there is an opportunity for me to speak officially for the city, I would definitely run it past you guys and verify if I have the message on behalf of council correct. Just like when I did the press conference for the crime summit, I sent out emails to everyone saying, hey, is there anything you want me to mention? Is there anything that you want said? I just didn't go and do that on my own. Some people's like, well, you gotta go for it. Okay, fine, but I put forth the effort. The other thing I would say is, it's not about me. It's about the people who elected us, and it's about making sure as the government, we show that we are talking to them and not having disagreements about if I've earned something or not, or whatever the difference may be. And again, I'm sharing that if I've been asked to, if needed, to speak on behalf of the city, I will certainly let you guys know. And again, verify if the message is accurate before I do so. And lastly, I would say, and with all due respect, I haven't been speaking to the media at all regarding anything regarding this virus. Many people have seen the newspaper articles of me being pretty much attacked by the newspaper for not responding to them. And I have not done so because I'm not going to speak on behalf of council or the city. So there's a prime example right there of me not communicating on behalf of the community. So I would just share that today, this crisis is going to be with us for a long time. And if we're going to try to show the community that we're trying to work together, if I'm saying about me as the head elected official for the government to fulfill my duties, just like my peers around the region, then in return, I'll be sure to communicate with you guys any message that I relay back to anybody. And I think if we're going to try to come together, I think that's meeting in the middle. That's the only thing I can share. So, Councilor Brown, if you had your hand raised, then Councilor Denton.
Yes, ma'am, and I'll keep mine short. We've had some differences lately. The most disappointing difference that I had with you as a leader on this COVID virus was to ask you very politely to not come to our council meeting this past Tuesday and to join by phone, and you chose not to do that. And I don't think that I am at a point where I can let someone that so easily push that aside to be communicating on behalf of the citizens and us for that. That was disappointing to me, and I don't want to get into it about that, but that was a big disappointment for me. And so I'm still going to have to say no on putting the addition of this in. That was part of the reason that I voted it out, and no other reason. It's not that I don't want you to speak. You have spoken for us on behalf of us for a while, but I think that for me, it has to change a little bit during this crisis. And so I'm going to have to stay the course on this. Thank you.
So I'll just say this because we have to move on. I would say to not start a back and forth. I would say to your comment, I have my own position on that, and I don't feel like it's the proper place to discuss that on council meeting live. I will say there's more to that story than what's been shared. And I know we're going to continue to disagree, but I don't want to sit here and fight with you. So I hear you how you feel. I respect it. I just disagree with you at the moment. But the fact of the matter is, if we're talking about leading as a team and moving forward as leaders, then we both need to bury the hatchet and move on. And so quite frankly, what I'm sharing is, if you just sat there and said I spoke on behalf of the city before, and you're actually fine with it, you just have an issue with one incident, then allow me to continue doing my job. And then before I speak on behalf of the city, I make sure I clear it past council. So again, that is a happy medium. And I'm trying to take a step forward by one, not addressing my differences right now with you, but then also two, trying to find a compromise. And so again, it's not about me, it's about making sure the public is communicated with and we deliver a strong message. So I'm trying to do my part. We're gonna still disagree with this, but I think, what other plan do we have to move forward besides just trying to come to the middle? So Councilor Denton.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a rebuttal on me as well. I don't know how this can go about. I would like to ask our clerk, if we've spoken 3 times, are we following any rules in this meeting? Because it seems that the mayor has the final word every time one of the counselors have something to say. And I didn't call her out by name. Either she chose to say all of that. I just said there's trust. And I'm just afraid that I don't have that trust. So I'm sorry.
All right, well,
I'd like to ask the clerk if we're following the same procedures in this meeting as we do if we were sitting on the dais.
all right, well, let me ask the city attorney that question. And if that's the case, then the last topic we did amongst you. So I'll adhere to the 3-person comments if that's what she directs us. So I'll refer to the city attorney on that one. Let me get a notepad. Ms. Robinson, can you answer Councilor Denton's question, please?
The rules, your count is still applicable to this meeting, Madam Counselor. So I think he's pointing to Rule 203, which the council voted on, I think, in the last month and a half or so, where you have up to 10 minutes or 3 times to speak.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, are you keeping track of time? And I'll start keeping track of the number of times that someone speaks. Are you keeping track of time?
Yes.
That was you?
Yes.
Okay. So Pelham, Denton, Bennett, Parton, Holloway.
However, please be aware, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, because you guys are splitting this up, the clock restarts at every paragraph or motion. In this case, the clock restarted, and the number of times you spoke restarted because it's a new motion on the floor. Am I correct in that, Madam City Attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
so Madam Clerk, can you tell me what is your track on this?
Right now, you have 8 minutes and 57 seconds left.
Okay.
Councilor Randolph, am I going down this whole list?
Sure.
Councilor Randolph has 9 minutes. Councilor Denton has 9 minutes, 50 seconds. Councilor Pelham has 7 minutes, 43 seconds. Councilor Holloway, Parton, and Bennett don't look like they have any time off.
In terms of the number of times Pelham, Denton, Randolph, and I have spoken on this topic?
You are twice. Randolph is twice. Denton is twice. Benton is none. Holloway is none. Pelham is twice. Parton is none.
Thank you so much. So based off of that, Pelham, Denton, Randolph, and I still have one more time to speak. With
That is correct.
that you provided, thank you. And Bennett, Parton, and Holloway are just, no, they have everything. So thank you for bringing that up. I will follow this. I was trying to have some flexibility since this is such an important topic, but I will definitely adhere to this. So, hands raised. Councilor Martin, go ahead.
So can we have that paragraph read one more time? Because, my understanding of it might be something totally different than what, others' understanding is. I mean, are we just talking about just the mayor speaking jointly with the city manager and the police chief?
It could be jointly, but let me read it to you, and then I'll defer to the city attorney. Okay? Can you hear me, Councilor Parton?
Yeah.
Okay. The paragraph that was in the ordinance says, the president of council / mayor shall be authorized to assist the local director of emergency management and police chief to maintain order in accordance with laws that are enacted due to the public health emergency created by the coronavirus, and shall be authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell if called upon, if the participation of the city of Hopewell is deemed desirable or necessary to formulate regional support or messaging. And Councilor Pelham inserted in addition to communicate with the citizens of Hopewell. So that way it's clear. Now, you said jointly, the verbiage can it could read that way, or you can make it very clear that way. And I'll defer to the city attorney for
The council, the way that paragraph was originally written.
Hold on one second. Somebody is moving around a lot, and your phone needs to be muted if they're moving around.
Okay, guilty. All right, I'll stop.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the paragraph was originally drafted, it should be kind of construed in two parts. So the first part of that, it is contained up to the word coronavirus. And so in that section of that paragraph, the president of council / mayor is simply assisting the director of emergency management and the police chief as to what needs to be done to maintain and enforce the laws that are enacted. That's very general. It's non-committal in terms of the specific activity, but there is just to be of assistance as the director of emergency management and police chief believes it's necessary. That was really what was intended by that particular clause. The second clause, which picks up at the word "and," is really designed to just deal directly with the president of council mayor position and say, listen, if our regional neighbors believe that there is something positive or necessary for us to show sort of a regional effort, mayor can appear on those undertakings and speak for the city. But it's really pretty much limited, again, to the regional messaging, regional support, rather than, as Councilor Pelham indicated, to deal with the communications directly with city residents. So does that answer your questions, or do you?
The insert that Councilor Pelham had at the end, and it says about communicating for citizens, would that make that broader for this, just the citizen part?
Well, clearly it would, because it was originally drafted just to deal with your ability as the president of council / mayor to show up at a press conference, let's say with regional partners, or if they decided to have some other kind of event where it was important to display to the citizens of this region that all were working collaboratively, across the jurisdictional boundaries. That was what was the thought process at the time this was drafted. So once you take it beyond that original thought process, it will be indeed more broad than it was intentionally originally written.
Okay. So, Councilor Parton, I don't know if your hand is still raised or not.
Well, my only comment really, I guess, with all that is if we just change the fourth paragraph to saying that, you know, we take the authorization part out to assist the local director of emergency management and police chief, and you're just saying there's something, you know, to the effect of being informed or, you know, notified what they're doing, and, you know, allowing, you know, the mayor to speak jointly with the city manager on, you know, regional issues and things like that. You know, I think that's something that's a compromise right in the middle that everybody can probably agree with.
Thank you, Councilor Parton, for that. I appreciate it. There are no other hands raised besides the city attorney, Madam Attorney.
Yeah, but I hate to use I do have my last comment.
Hold on one second. Let me call on the city attorney real quick, unless she wants you to go first.
Yes, let Councilor Pelham go first, please.
All right, go ahead, Councilor Pelham.
No. All right, so so you're saying the word jointly, where would have to add that word somewhere in here, or just put "and"?
Well, the city attorney, and I think that's probably why she raised her hand for a little bit more
Let her-
guidance, but she's making drafts live as we're doing this, so she can work on something. If it's clear what Council Parton is saying, we can discuss it.
And that's going to be my question. So based on the suggestion that was made by Councilor Parton, sir, if inserted the word jointly before the word appear, which is at the end of the third line from the end.
1, 2, 3.
Appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell. After Hopewell, insert with the director of emergency management. Would that?
Yeah,
Yes.
it worked for me.
Yeah, so you
Yes.
put that part in there, and then we take out the part that says authorized to assist. And what we put in there is to be informed by the local director for emergency management and police chief.
No, wait a minute, you ain't say all that. I even said
What about the mayor?
the police chief not even in his part, is he?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
right
yes,
here in
he
the
is.
second
Okay.
line.
Yeah. So you gotta say that again for me.
So, the idea, the president of council / mayor shall be informed with by the local director of emergency management and police chief of, their operations on what they're doing to enforce the law and to enact, due to public health emergency created by the coronavirus, and shall be authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell jointly with the director for emergency management and the police chief.
Okay, so that's changed quite a bit from what I originally asked
Yeah.
about. So let me read what I'm picking up, and then you tell me if that will suit you based on the changes.
Ms. Robinson, before you do that, I just want clarity because I'm following him, but I just want to make clarity in Councilor Pelham's motion, she had in addition to the citizens of Hopewell. So I don't know if you have that in yours or you're reading off of the one that you have, but her motion included the citizens of Hopewell part outside the regional support.
But that's what he said, jointly. It'll be a joint effort with you and the city manager.
Right, I understand that, but what I'm saying is the way, if he's reading the version that's typed up, it does not include anything outside of regional support. You specifically mentioned citizens of Hopewell, meaning if we were to have something locally, that it could be done jointly. And I just want to make clarity that she's tracking that, and so is Councilor Parton.
Okay.
Okay, so here's how I'm reading it now. The president of council / mayor shall be informed by the local director of emergency management and police chief relative to their efforts to maintain order and enforce the laws that are enacted due to the public health emergency created by the coronavirus, and shall be authorized to jointly appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell with the director of emergency management, if called upon, if the participation of the city is deemed desirable or necessary, to formulate regional support or messaging, and to communicate with the citizens of Hopewell.
Yeah, that's what I think. Councilor Parton, I'll start with you first. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So would that be a substitute? Would that be a substitute motion?
I don't think you had a second, ma'am.
I said,
Oh, okay.
I said, yeah. So it'll have to be a substitute. So Councilor Parton, can you request to please make an amended motion?
Yeah, I move to make the amended motion.
I'm trying to
Second.
raise my hand.
I'm
Before he
sorry,
does that, I just want to add one little thing.
who is
I
that?
can't get my hand raised.
Oh, I'm about to say, yeah, I don't see your hand on the screen. Okay, go ahead, Councilor.
I'm sorry. Before he makes that motion, I said I can go for this. However, I would like for it to simply just have a little addition if Councilor Parton and the rest of the councilors are okay, where it says that after the police chief in the first sentence, the city manager and the police chief are to inform or update the mayor.
Mhm.
I'd like for the mayor to then update council.
That's, yeah,
Would
That's
that
fine.
be
I'm okay
okay
with
to
that.
put in there too?
absolutely.
I,
That's, I'm fine with that.
I agree. I second that motion. I agree with the friendly amendment.
Okay, so let's
Thank
get
you.
some order around that. Thank you, Councilor Randolph. So Councilor Parton, I think you're tracking. So right now, we do have a motion on the floor, and I seconded it for him to be able to make an amended motion. So, Madam Attorney, unless I'm mistaken, the right course of action is to get council's approval to allow him to make an amended motion, correct?
Mhm.
I have that motion already made by Councilor Parton and seconded by you, Mayor Gore.
Correct, but I'm just, yeah, okay. So roll call, please. This is just to be able to do an amended motion.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Councilor Randolph,
Yes.
Councilor Holloway,
Yes.
Councilor Parton,
Yes.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Councilor Denton,
No,
Councilor Cullum,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Parton, can you please restate the motion? And if you're tracking what Councilor Randolph said, then please insert that.
Yeah, all it is just inserting in the piece about the mayor, informing all of council.
Yes, can you make the motion, because what Councilor Pelham had was not that. So, Madam Attorney, is that fine? You don't have to repeat it all, right?
I'll just state what the motion is, okay? And that is, the president of council shall be informed by the local director of emergency management and police chief relative to their efforts to maintain order and enforce the laws that are enacted due to the public health emergency created by the coronavirus, and shall be authorized to jointly appear and speak on behalf of the city of Hopewell with the director of emergency management if called upon, if the participation of the city of Hopewell is deemed desirable or necessary to formulate regional support and messaging, and to communicate with the city's citizens of Hopewell. That would be to move to substitute
I didn't include mine.
language into the ordinance.
Okay. Is that
I
clear?
didn't include my piece.
It did not include your piece, Councilor Randall.
No, it didn't.
Ms. Robinson, just for clarity, did you include the part that Councilor Randolph was talking about? Meaning that I have to notify city council?
Okay, so give me 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so based on, we don't have to restate the entire section, but Madam Counselor Randolph, is it okay after the word coronavirus, you put some language that is, that
I was thinking, Madam Attorney, if it goes right after police chief, to just for the mayor to update council. She'll get updated by them and then update council. Something simple.
yeah, it's going to be about the same. So it's just for me where it would be.
Okay.
Okay, how about which shall be reported to council? Will that work? Will that work? Behind the word police chief, which shall be reported to council, or which the mayor shall report to council?
Yes.
Okay. Got
Thank you.
So that was your motion, Madam Mayor, to include that language. I'll shoot this out in written form in a minute, but you'll need a second vote.
Yeah, that's Councilor Parton's motion, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Councilor Pelham, correct?
No, that was my motion.
Thank you. Counselor Plum, did you second that?
She said she was okay with it, but it was not seconded.
Okay, I'll second it. Any other discussion? Counselor Randolph, your hand is raised. I think it might be when you first tried to do it and it was messing up on you.
Yep,
It
sorry. Did
Okay.
it go down? Yeah, it did.
Yep, it came down. Okay, so roll call, please, Madam Clerk. I'm sorry, Counselor Holloway, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Counselor Randolph,
Yes.
Counselor Holloway,
Yes.
Counselor Parton,
Yes.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Counselor Denton,
No.
Counselor Pelham, Counselor Pelham,
Yes,
Mayor
yes,
Gore,
yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Yes.
Okay. The next section is the last section, right? Madam Attorney?
Yes, well, you have two more sections. The next one is, it is further ordained that notwithstanding contrary provisions of law, including the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, which imposes conditions by the city council, by which the city council can conduct meetings, the city council shall be authorized to conduct its meetings and transact business by electronic means, provided that a quorum is established at the start of the meeting and continues for the duration of the meeting. Such authorization shall be in conformance with Virginia Code Section 15.2-1413 and shall continue for no longer than 6 months after the disaster or the local emergency declaration is lifted, whichever first occurs. While such emergency declaration is in effect, City Council shall be authorized to limit public access to its meetings to electronic means, provided such access is technologically available to the locality at the time of the meeting. No later than 6 months after the disaster or the expiration of the local emergency declaration, meetings of the City Council shall conform to the open meeting requirements and exemptions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. That's the end of the next paragraph.
Okay, those participating remotely via the software, is there any questions? All right, there are no hands raised. Is everyone okay? Those who are dialed, participating via the software, to make sure everybody's software is working correct. Counselor Randolph, Denton, Parton, does anyone have anything? Bennett?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Those participating by phone, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's me. I just want to make sure, while we have the authorization to do all electronic meetings during this emergency, we're not planning on continuing that, are we?
Are you asking me? Or
I'm asking anybody. Ma'am? Ms. Holloway?
Counselor Holloway?
It just stated and shall continue no longer than 6 months after the disaster of a local emergency declaration.
Right. We've done the emergency declaration. I'm just wondering if we're going back to physical meetings.
Yeah, I think at some point we'll go back to physical meetings, but apparently, it's just there as a precaution. so we could be able to do it if needed. But I think at some point we will go back to that, but we'll have to discuss about when we want to do it, because we still have that 10 people requirement, and there's
Right.
counselors and 3 staff members, and that's 10 people off bat. So, and that's without, so it's 7 counselors, the city manager, city attorney, city clerk, that's 10. If you include the city manager, Mr. Dane, and the deputy clerk, Ms. Kamisha, then that's 12 people. So we'll have to figure out if we want to do just the 10 of us, or wait till after the 10 people limit is lifted. But I think it just gives us the flexibility, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Ms. Robinson?
That's correct, ma'am.
So I guess for our meeting on the 31st, we can talk offline about this if people want to do that one dial-in, if you want to come in person. So we have some time before then to make that determination within the next day or so. Are you okay with that, Councilor Randolph?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Councilor Palmer, Council Holloway, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, the final paragraph, if there are no questions, is it is further ordained that the emergency notifications, Code Red and Nixle are hereby established as the City of Hopewell system for city officials and public safety personnel to deliver emergency messages and notifications to Hopewell residents by email, phone, or text message for the duration of the local declaration of emergency and disaster. Emergency ordinance or any portion thereof may be amended or rescinded by the council. The second reading required by chapter 8 of the Hopewell City Charter for the enactment of this ordinance is hereby dispensed, and this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. That's the end.
Again, those participating remotely, Councilors Benton, Randolph, Parton, and Vice Mayor Bennett. There's no hands raised. Does anyone have anything for that?
In the second paragraph of that section, there's an underline after time. Is that just arbitrary, or is there supposed to be something there?
Is my mouse what we were talking about?
What?
You said time?
After the second paragraph in the last section we're looking at.
Right here?
Word is time. I can't see your screen. Hang on. Yeah, the one I printed out has after the period and underline. So I just wondered if that was something that's just, it's gone on yours. So I guess it was just a tracking piece. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, for those dialing in, Councilor Pelham and Councilor Holloway, do you guys have any comments?
No.
No.
Okay, I do have a question for this. The emergency notification sections, Code Red and Nixle, are hereby established as a City of Hopewell system for, okay, so I have a question to the city manager. I was looking at some of the code sections that we have. You know, we have reverse 911. Could we establish some type of call or a line where people can dial in as well to get these updates in case they don't have those or don't want to use them? Like a standard like dial-in number, people can get the latest update for the day for the seniors that maybe not want that.
Yeah, we could look at that similar to what we've done with our call center. Just have we just have to create that number and push it out, and then have it updated daily at a certain period of time. The other thing is, just so we're clear, everybody, we will use these to push out emergency notifications, not just general communications, because we have a couple of other apps that I know the police department has to update people. So this is going to be, if something's going bad real fast, we will use this, and we'll probably end up using reverse 911 also. But yeah, to answer your question, we certainly can set up a call-in line for those that don't want to go to the web or can't go to the web to get an update.
Okay, and then the other part is the text message system that we have. It says in text message, so what about that notify me text line that people can do to get alerts straight to their phone? Are you going to use that as well as an emergency notification? Because that's in addition to Code Red and Nixle.
Well, I know with my Code Red, and I get a text and a phone call.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Okay.
And I have a comment.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Mr. City Manager, you said you'll use Nixle and Red, Alert Red only for an emergency, but this is the emergency, so wouldn't it be okay to use them every time for the next, however long this emergency is in play, technically?
Well, my thoughts is if it's like today, nothing really happened today, so it's a status quo day. I don't know that we would push out Code Red or through Nixle, because I want our citizens to, that's when something's really going bad, that's what they hear. And if we kind of start giving them status quo messages, I don't want that to take away from the fact that when we really have an emergency, they need to pay attention to that, I guess.
Okay. So is there a banner that runs across our website or something, or Facebook, that tells them today no different status or something, or how many deaths or how many whatever is in the local area?
We have a banner at the top that directs people to the portion of our webpage that deals with COVID-19, but we don't have a stream up top that has like breaking news, if you will.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, Miss Robinson.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just notifying you and the other members of council that I've just sent the revised text to you all relative to the changes that were voted on tonight, and now the entire ordinance is subject to your vote, a motion and a vote.
Okay.
For the record, the additional language or the changes are in yellow, and I tried to underline them as well.
Okay. Madam Attorney, is it proper for me just to officially like recess for a couple of minutes, let everybody read it, or is it okay for us to proceed like this?
You can recess as you would normally.
Okay, we'll recess for 3 minutes. Maybe longer if you guys need to. I'll try to pick an even number. 8:10. Does everybody have their email pulled up?
I need to go
Nope.
pull my email up. Can we do a 10-minute recess?
Oh,
Well,
come on.
I don't know if I can get to my email for seeing your screen.
What screen?
download it.
Mark, you seem to be in your office. I can run a copy of it to you across the hall.
That's fine.
Okay, so do we need a 10-minute or 5-minute?
Where's your email, Johnny?
Because
All you gotta do is give
I
me
have
five.
a member of council that can't stay on for 10 minutes. So can we
No,
do?
no, I mean, here's the
Too many
thing.
people talking.
Here's the thing. Can't you just open up your email, Mayor Gore, and put and share your screen?
Yeah,
Ma'am, let me
yeah.
stop sharing
That
my.
way we can all look at the same thing.
Okay, I'll do it
Yeah.
in a second. Okay.
Okay, better.
Genius, great. I don't see it on my email though.
Come on in.
Oh Lord. Somebody yelled. That was not me.
No,
That was not.
when you start moving
was-
around, it was.
Yeah,
I can hear.
I didn't move. I'm moving now, but let me put it on mute.
all right. I think I can pull it back up. Give me 1 second. All right, do you guys see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen?
I'm looking at my own.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So the beginning part. So the beginning part is the same. I'm just going to scroll to the first section that was changed.
What paragraph has changed?
The ones in yellow. If you can see my screen, you can see it.
Okay, yeah. I see it on my own screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's got the music on?
I don't know.
I also like to put a comma after the it is, Miss Matt.
After the what?
After the it is, be it.
No, ma'am.
No, that's not how you do it. You can't do it like that.
This is between English and attorney version. That's okay.
But
That's okay.
I have inserted a comma after the word council. That entire paragraph that's in yellow highlight
Mm-hmm.
represent the clause that was offered by Counselor Randolph. So I just wanted to let you know that a comma would be relative.
And so, Madam Attorney, my question is the second paragraph again. Does that cover like general conversations that are not with the regional supported messaging?
Oh.
We heard that.
Yeah, I said you're live.
I need to include in the communications with the city of Hopewell, citizens of Hopewell.
Yes, and then, and like you said, also to inform council part.
Yeah, that's there after that.
At the top, yes.
Oh, at the top, okay, okay.
1 second, and I will make
At the
that.
top of the paragraph.
At the top of the paragraph.
Yep.
Are you looking at my screen?
Yep.
Where is it
at? After.
Oh, right
here.
Right
The comment was after chief, and she started it right there.
Okay. I see it.
Any more that I missed?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Any more that I missed? If not, I'm going to send council version 2 back to you again to put on the screen and for all councils to see that the change was made. Okay.
Okay.
Coming. 1 second.
Just FYI, I got an email from Congressman McEachin's office on the 26th. They're doing a virtual chat. In case you got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, here it comes without a message.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick. Okay, can you guys see it? Okay, is everyone see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does anyone need a little bit more time to read over these two sections in yellow?
No.
Anybody remote or dial in. If you guys don't say anything other than that, I think they'll take it as you guys are fine with it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now, sorry, was somebody about to say something? Okay. So now that we went through every section of it, we have to adopt the entire ordinance. It's up for consideration at this point.
So move.
Can you make a clear motion, please, Councilor Pelham?
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the emergency management motion, review tonight, 2020 dash, whatever the next number would be. Dated today's date, March the 24th. Is that clear enough?
Yes, I'll ask the city clerk. Is that clear enough?
Yes.
Say as revised.
Yeah.
Does this have to
As
be done by
revised.
supermajority? Because
Hold
it's
on
an emergency.
1 second. Do you get the part, Madam Clerk, as revised?
Yes.
Okay. I second that. And we have a question about the total that's needed, Madam Attorney.
A majority vote is all needed.
A majority vote was needed. So the motion's been made by Councilor Pelham, seconded by me. There was a question about if there's a supermajority needed, and just a simple regular majority is needed for people.
Simple majority.
Simple majority, I'm so sorry. Simple majority is needed. So, any other questions for discussion? For clarity, no one has their hand raised on the virtual part. Just want to make sure you guys are good in terms of discussion. Those on the phone, does anyone have any comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Great news.
Councilor Randolph. Councilor Randolph.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Councilor Holloway.
Yes.
Councilor Parton.
Yes.
Mayor Gore.
Yes.
Councilor Denton.
No.
Councilor Pelham.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Yes. That was everyone, correct?
Yes.
Everybody that can vote.
I thought I didn't hear Councilor Denton. I was making sure. Okay, I got it. Motion passes, correct, Madam Attorney and Clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been moved to adjourn by Councilor Randolph and seconded by Councilor Parton. Roll call, please.
Councilor Randolph.
Yes.
Councilor Holloway.
Yes.
Councilor Parton.
Yes.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Councilor Denton,
Yeah.
Councilor Denton, Councilor Pelham,
Yeah. Oh, no.
Vice
I
Mayor
like
Denton.
talking to y'all.
Yes, yes.
Call me afterwards.
Who was that? Who was that? Okay, I will.
Everybody a clean copy of the ordinance again, so check your emails for that. Thank you. Unless there's anything else we have to talk about, you guys.
Please, I need a copy for my file and for the record, and also so we can print a clean copy. I'm assuming, Madam City Attorney will give it to you, Mayor Gore, for signing, and then to me, and then we'll upload that as soon as possible.
I just sent a clean copy to all of council and the city clerk for the mayor to sign, and you all can process it from there.
Oh, may we have hard copies?
You print it out and have somebody sign it.
No, Councilor Hall, I think she's requesting hard copies.
I'll put a copy, after it's signed, I'll put a copy in, each counselor's mailbox, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Works for me.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Be safe.
Good night.
Joining us from the community. Appreciate it. And stopping
Who's singing?
me. Sorry.